guys are ridiculous. These guys are ridiculous.
Now, how about them damn Celtics?
And we are back with another episode of How About Them Celtics. Sam and I are here recording on Wednesday, September 6th. And Sam, you can see this if you're on YouTube, and I'll explain it, but I did get this today. This is Sam texted me yesterday. What would you say? I want to read it verbatim because I laughed at it. And then
So to put in perspective, yesterday, which Jack will love, I had a ton of calories left to consume. So I treated myself to one of Dunkin's specialty iced coffees. And I gave Jack a nice review that reads like this.
Sam texted me, salted caramel cold brew is change your life stuff from Dunkin'. And I said, noted, it'll be my order tomorrow. And as I said, it was my order and can confirm.
Very good.
This is very good.
See, I drink coffees super, super fast, though. Like, my coffee is gone by the time I get home from Dunkin'. Like, I never actually have a coffee at my desk. It's always gone in the car.
The only reason I still have some is because I saved it for this bit. That in the car, I'm like, okay, I can't drink all of this because this is a bit I'm gonna do on the show. But I did get the salted caramel cold brew with 3 stevia, which I didn't even know you could get stevia at Dunkin'.
Stevia is essentially sugar that's in the green packets.
So it's and that makes it healthier. Is that how it works? Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, anyways, outside of my Dunkin' endeavors, we do have Celtics news. First and foremost, from Adam Himmelsbach of the Boston Globe, Blake Griffin return to the Celtics might not be as likely as some people thought in the past. This was from Adam Himmelsbach's recent article for the Globe. Said the Celtics would likely welcome a return by veteran big man Blake Griffin, who played well last year and was a strong locker room presence, but for now that appears unlikely as Griffin considers his future, the source said. So it does sound like Griffin might not be back. And then we had a follow-up or another tidbit from Brian Robb of Mass Live, saying based on who the Celtics sign ahead of camp, the door could remain open for Griffin to join the team later if he decides to play the season, seeing that the team could easily open a roster spot. Otherwise, Boston will need to look elsewhere for added front court depth. So from that, it sounds like the Celtics do know they should probably have an extra guy in the front court, but they just plan on that being Blake. But from Adam's Himmelsbach's perspective, doesn't seem likely that Blake will return, which sucks, to put it bluntly. It kind of sucks.
Well, it's been like the only open-ended story of the summer, so we've talked about it quite a bit. And having Blake Griffin back on the Celtics would be ideal. He was a great fit. He was actually able to contribute when he was asked to give them real minutes, which was a huge thing, especially with Al Horford needing rest, Robert Williams having surgery at the beginning of the season. He was able to fill a solid role, as well as guys like Luke Cornett and even Noah Vonleh, who gave them solid minutes at the beginning of the season and then got traded for nothing. But he did, like, he played against the Heat, and he was actually kind of impactful.
He played in the season opener. I forgot about Noah Vonleh, though. Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So it was really good to have Blake in that sense. He obviously was a good fit for the team itself, meaning he connected with the rest of the guys. There's all kinds of anecdotes out there about him being a glue guy, having conversations with top to bottom of the roster, just getting along with everybody. So we all like that.
Boys.
The Bus One boys. And again, he was doing everything on the floor that made fans adore him, diving on the floor, taking charges. He was playing solid defense on, I think there was a game where Boston could not get a stop on Embiid. I think it was the game in Philly where he had all those points.
Yeah.
And they put Blake Griffin in and he got 2 stops in a row.
Of course he did, right? That makes sense. No, I mean, I would love Blake Griffin back in Boston. It's weird that this is coming out now. Maybe it makes sense because he maybe wants to go to the West Coast, or he could retire. He doesn't have anything else to prove, right? He why does he care? He made his money. So it sucks that he might not come back. But then, as Brian Robb put, like, the Celtics could be forced to look elsewhere for front court depth, which, I mean, it could leave a door open for one of our favorite guys, Sam. I'm not saying anything, but the Manimal in Boston sounds pretty fine to me. I would love a Mr.
Go
Kenneth
get him.
Faried
You get some super cool dunks.
Mm-hmm.
Cool dreads. Isaiah Thomas, perhaps.
It's true.
They do exactly be front court. I hopped in and I chatted with the First the Floor guys last night in their little live stream. I was in the chat.
Yeah.
And I believe I heard one of them say this as well. The Celtics kind of owe it to the fan base to do a fan-based move, Smart. Because they traded away Marcus Smart and they're not going to be able to bring back Blake Griffin, not for a lack of wanting to. It may be time to trot him out there, get everybody all excited. You'll sell tickets. I'll go. I'll be more than happy to sit there and watch them blow out a team in hopes of seeing Isaiah come out onto the floor again. He'll get a nice round of applause, and he definitely deserves to be a part of any title-esque run that they could go on. It just feels like he does. It's a very strange relationship because he wasn't here very long, but he truly did connect with the fan base. I mean, you wrote about it. You have an understanding. So I don't need to explain to you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And speaking of Marcus Smart, this was out of nowhere. My dad unprompted texted me today. I just remembered that Marcus Smart was traded and became sad. No bueno. So everyone's feeling the Marcus Smart effect.
Having a good day, and then like that thought crept into his head, and he was like, "Shit."
Yeah,
he like hunched over.
Unfortunate, but going back to Blake Griffin, like Brown Rob saying they might have to look elsewhere for front court depth. There's not a lot of front court depth left for the Celtics to go after. Looking at the free agent page, Bismack Biyombo is a guy we brought up. Frank Kaminsky already signed overseas, so he's not there anymore. Taj Gibson is 38 years old. Willie Hernan-Gomez, you might laugh, like, why would you do that? He's actually having a pretty good FIBA World Cup right now. He's averaging like 18 points per game in the FIBA World Cup, so like he's all right. But there's really just not much front court depth for the Celtics to target. So if it's not Blake Griffin and it's not Kenneth Faried, you might see them go after one of these younger guys who you probably don't know much about. If I had to guess, but
how exciting.
We'll have to see. Yeah, I mean, hey, the highlights video will hit because no one will heard of him. So maybe
we did a Lewis King video and nobody cared.
I feel like that was different because this one we could put breaking at the front, Sam, and people love breaking news.
They sure do. So, but I'm kind of over the young guys. We've talked about this in the past because we did that video inspired by this thought of, is it really the best idea to go after like young guys for the 15th roster spot if you're trying to compete for a title? Like, why not bring in somebody you feel like you can throw out there and he's not a project? So I'm kind of over that at this point.
I agree. The only reason I would be more for it in this case is because there's really no other option. Like, all of the veteran guys are bad. We'll just put it bluntly.
I genuinely think Kenneth Faried could give them something.
No, I agree. I would be fine with Kenneth Faried, but yeah. I don't know. But I don't know. We'll see.
I'd still rather have Isaiah than a project just because it's fun.
Okay. Perfect. It wouldn't exactly be front court depth, but we can keep dreaming. Anyways, Blake Griffin return to the Celtics seems unlikely per Adam Himmelsbach. That is the news you got. But the next thing, speaking of Celtics roster additions, Svi Mykhailiuk, who obviously joined the Celtics recently. Sam, you put this in your streets talking loud about Svi Mykhailiuk, so I'm going to let you lead this in because I don't know what this is about.
Yes, so Jared Weiss put together an article after speaking with some league personnel about the Celtics' most recent addition, Svi Mykhailiuk. And there was nothing but positive things to be said about the Ukrainian. He's from Ukraine.
Ukrainian, yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking as if I'm writing an article, trying to use as many different words as I can to describe the person I'm talking about to just show I know stuff. But Jared Weiss writes, the veteran minimum signing comes to Boston with positive reviews from personnel on his previous teams who spoke with The Athletic on the condition of anonymity so they could talk freely. Multiple former coaches raved about his work ethic and his penchant for throwing down random windmill dunks or sprinting full speed into shots during practice, with one saying he does some jaw-dropping stuff in workouts. So that's a pretty good start. And then we have a second bit here. A former staffer who worked with Mykhailiuk closely felt he turned the corner last season once he left the Knicks for the Hornets, which Basketball Reference would tell you. It would say that because he averaged 17.3 points and 5.3 assists per game in the games that he started with the final 8 of the season. After spending his time in New York, making occasional brief appearances, getting a consistent role on a late season Charlotte team gave him the reps he needed to find a rhythm and play some of the best ball of his career. So this signing may actually end up meaning more than we thought, because my initial take, wow, they just signed Sam Hauser again. And I don't know if Sam Hauser's doing windmill dunks in practice. And
I doubt it.
When we did the thing, we did say that Charlotte's split is different. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
No. I mean,
Pump
all
fake.
good things. It's always it's always good to hear good things about a player a team signs. I still question how much actual playing time Svi Mykhailiuk will get. He's clearly a good player. Like that's the good thing. He is on the younger side, but he's also like Sam. We just talked about Blake Griffin. Like he could step in and play real minutes for the Celtics team. Excuse me. It seems like so that's a good thing. But I don't know. I just question how much real run he's gonna get. Do you think he'll get time? Do you think Joe Mazzulla will actually go to him, or do you think he'll just sit on the bench?
I don't know if he's going to sit on the bench permanently, but I also don't know if he's going to be in the rotation. The Celtics rotation is just weird. What do you really expect out of the Celtics rotation? You know, you've got White, Brown, Tatum, Porzingis, and from that point, you don't even know. You don't know who's going to start next to Porzingis. And you know Brogdon will be the sixth man. Aside from that, you truly don't know that much. In terms of wings, you have a ton now. You have Svi Mykhailiuk, bench wings. Svi Mykhailiuk, Sam Hauser, Jordan Walsh, O'Shea Brissett, Delano Banton. That's 5 guys you could realistically put out there to play the wing. Not to really include Malcolm Brogdon, who The Athletic, spoiler alert, lists as a shooting guard. So technically he's a wing too. Kind of. I don't know. It depends how you classify shooting guards. They've got so many options. Who knows? It depends on the day, probably.
I agree. I hope he plays a little bit, but I just, to be honest, I think it'll come down to if Hauser's not shooting well, Mykhailiuk will get some run, and then it'll just go back to Hauser once he finds his shot again. I don't know. Well, like I said, we'll have to see. You can't have enough shooting, though, I suppose. So whatever. Svi Mykhailiuk's fine. It is what it is. All right. It's that time of the podcast where we go to the email and we check who RJ Johnson is teaching us about today. Let's pull it up here, Sam. You ready for your daily lesson about the Dark Ages?
Educate me.
All right.
I'll go full
98 and 99. We are finally at the period where Sam and I were born. This is
true.
This is birth year. We finally got there, everybody.
As the season was tipping off, I was coming out the womb.
Were you 98 or 99?
98.
Okay, I'm 99. So this is both of us, I suppose, right here. I'm March 99. So there we go. Spotlight today from RJ Johnson is Greg Minor. One of those guys who's just a guy. Today we look back at Greg Minor. Minor was a 6'6" shooting guard, small forward. I think reporters started calling these guys wings just to save keystrokes. From Louisville, whose transaction excitement came before he ever suited up. The draft pick he'd become was traded by Atlanta along with Dominique Wilkins to the Clippers in February 94 for Danny Manning. The Clips picked 25th in that year's draft, and the next day he was traded with the now unemployed Mark Jackson. That's so foul.
Respect.
To the Pacers for the princely sum of Eric Pitikowski, Pooh Richardson, and Malik Sealy. I just have to stop for a second. Pooh is just the worst nickname you could possibly have. The Pacers cut him during training camp, and he caught on with the Celtics 3 weeks before the start of the regular season, where he stayed for the duration of his 5-year career. When I first started looking at the 90 Celtics, I remembered Minor, but was surprised to see he was on the team for 5 years, surviving the Patino purges. Maybe being from Louisville gave him some Kentucky comfort for King Rat. Why Minor? Minor was such a reasonably muscular bench player, averaging between 15 and 24 minutes per game during his career. He was a good percentage shooter from the mid-range, making around 50% for his first 3 years of career when he subtracted out his abysmal three-point numbers. There was nothing here that said he played above or below his level. He was a solid pro who got minutes on average to bad teams. Career numbers, 7 points, roughly 6.9 points, 2.7 rebounds, 1.4 assists. His personal highlight was competing in the 96 slam dunk contest. And even when you look at his dunks, there was nothing jaw-dropping. He was good. He had hops for a 6'6" guy, and that was it. Not running down Greg, he played hard, but there was nothing about his game or that the Celtics during the Dark Ages that stood out. If he was on the Celtics now, he'd be a fine candidate for the Bus One boys. His career ended in 1999 when he suffered a hip injury a week before the end of the strike-shortened year. Similar players, Yogi Ferrell, Del Curry, Quentin Ross. Greg Minor trivia, let me know if you find any. P.S. Do either of you know if any of the trade checkers have been updated to account for the new CBA? Fanspo, I believe, is updated with the new CBA now because I tried to do it.
Checker?
I think he's just talking about I think he's just talking about like online trade machines like Fanspo, ESPN.
Oh,
so
okay.
Fanspo, I believe, if you just go, what is it? I think it's trademba.com. Just go to fanspo.com-mba-trade-machine. search Fanspo trade machine, you'll find it, and it says literally on the front page, now updated to work with the 2023 CBA. So that is there. But Greg Minor, Sam, did you know of Greg Minor when you were Dark
Did
Ages
not.
looking around?
Did not know.
I did not know either. This got me curious though. I've never looked at it. You know, have you ever looked at like, oh, what NBA players were born on my birthday? What about
No.
this? What about this?
I've
I
not.
wonder if there were any Celtics transactions on our exact birthdays. Because I mean,
Probably
Greg Minor
not.
could have been. Well, Greg Minor joined the team 3 weeks before the season. When's your birthday? I don't exactly.
October 28th. It's like opening night every year. Nobody's
Literally.
making transactions.
Okay. 98. I doubt it then, but I wasn't sure when it was. October 28th. This is 97. Damn. There was a trade though. A year before you were born, but it looks like in 98
Earth-shattering,
October,
probably.
Yeah, not exactly.
Yeah.
It was a year before Sam was born. You got Tony Massenberg in a second to the Vancouver Grizzlies for Roy Rogers. So there's your a year before you were born trade there, Sam.
Excellent.
Yeah, nothing else. A year before I was born, they signed Reggie Hansen to a 10-day contract. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's there's not exactly much on our birthdays. I was curious. I was seeing if there's anything there, but yeah, thank you, RJ Johnson, for teaching us about Greg Minor, who by your lack of trivia, not many people probably know about Greg Minor. I don't even know what Greg Minor looks like. I don't even know what teams he played for. Does he have any
Do we know what number Greg
accomplishments? If you can guess it, I'll tell you.
12.
It is close. 9. He wore number 9 for the Celtics. Who wears number 9 right
that's
now?
like the most people to wear it in team history. That's
Derek
why.
White wears 9 right now. I was like, who wears it? He was a first-round pick, though, which is interesting. Did Greg Minor... I'm just, like, curious now because I'm on Basketball Reference. Did he get picked before anybody good? The answer? No. Actually, yes.
Probably
Charlie
not. Those
Ward.
90s drafts were brutal.
Charlie Ward was one pick after Greg Minor, and he had a significantly better career.
Those 90s drafts... Just like in the 90s, early 2000s in general, the NBA was pretty devoid of talent. Like, what happened? Did people just like stop playing basketball? Did they start playing something else?
Apparently,
Like,
but
all the best athletes went and played football.
Greg Ward was the only good pick after Greg Minor, or Charlie Ward. Anyways, we're done with Greg Minor. I'll close it up. Thank you, RJ, for another email. We'll check in again on our next pod. We're recording Saturday probably, so we'll see you then. Thanks, RJ. Appreciate you as always. But
get ready for the NFL season with incredible offers from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets. Guaranteed. That's guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Now is the best time to join FanDuel. It absolutely is. The app is easy to use, and you can be on everything from spreads to player props and more. So visit FanDuel.com/Boston. Kick off the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
the next Celtics thing we have on the docket for you as I scroll down is Marcus Smart. We talked about it a little bit earlier, but Marcus Smart had some parting gifts for New England Children's Hospital, obviously with his Young Game Changer Foundation. Bobby Manning wrote about this for Celtics blog. I'll just read the couple opening intro paragraphs to kind of encapsulate it, and then we can talk about it briefly, but just basically a news thing. Marcus Smart will no longer be playing in Boston. Many reminders remain from his Celtics tenure, including old jerseys and tribute videos from nearly a decade with the team. His impact on local children across New England, particularly with those battling cancer, may be his lasting impact. At the Children's Room, a bereavement center in Arlington, one smart cart rests on the bottom floor filled with Nintendo Switches, tablets, and other accessories, awaiting the kids' arrival this fall. On the side of the cart, Smart, whose Young Game Changer Foundation donated it earlier this summer, now sports a Grizzlies uniform. So, very sad, but basically, Marcus Smart and his foundation, despite him leaving, still helping out hospitals in the area. It just goes to show Marcus Smart, all-time, just great human being.
Yeah, I mean, like
dude.
even right after he got traded, he was still hosting camps in the city. It was a huge media thing. Like there were tons of writers, beat reporters, journalists there because he was still doing this, like days after being traded. Yeah. Kind of blindsided by a trade, by the way, too. So he's been big on the helping out the children's hospitals forever. He did a lot last year. He teamed up with Drew Holiday, if you remember. And I
Yes,
think he even did something in Wisconsin with him. So he's
It
making
was, yeah.
strides all over.
And
But
Bucks
yeah,
fans,
now he's not on the Celtics anymore.
yeah.
Press F to pay respects in the chat. I want to see a bunch of comments that say F.
Yeah, I remember the Bucks fans. It was like during the playoffs or after the playoffs, they like saw this and like, damn, I really hate that I have to like Marcus Smart now for a little bit. But yeah, it just sucks. It sucks. Smart is gone.
It is terrible. It's the scene from Goodfellas where Tommy's going to be a made man and then they shoot him. Which is my Twitter cover photo.
Good for Marcus Smart, still helping the kid. You expect nothing less from him. All-time good dude. And yeah, again, just not much to discuss when it comes to that, but just a news piece that I want.
They better win
on the pod. They better win. All right, Sam, you put this next thing on. The Athletic did positional power rankings for the NBA.
Sure did.
I'll let you lead this off. Hit me up.
Thanks.
What you got? Yeah, that's all you. Come on.
So the Athletic went through each team's, I guess if this is football, you would say rooms of each position. So the point guard room and so on. And they ranked them. So when you see these rankings and hear us talk about where the Celtics positions are ranked, it's not just the players involved, it's the others that are around them. So to preface this, the criteria for these rankings, basketball, good one. How do you see a player in terms of non-shooting scoring, rebounding, playmaking, defense, and shooting efficiency? In general, players who are consistently good and do a variety of things on either end of the floor will have their teams rank higher. Availability. Injuries exist. This one really doesn't need to be explained. Depth. Even though they're not listed here, I looked into all 32nd units since we have enough roster spots filled for those on every team. Career. I have to consider where players are at in their careers. Younger players have upside, but they do have to show something too. Players in their 30s are always a cliff threat, a term I've never heard, but I instantly know what it means. Morale. Actually wanting to play for the current team and vice versa. Emphasis on the word team. These are positional rankings, meaning that they're being inclusive and considering all 30 NBA squads. So the Celtics rankings, first one will go just 1 through 5. The point guard spot, they have all the starters' names on the list. But Derek White and the boys are at number 21. 21st best point guard rotation in the league. Thoughts?
Yeah. I know we talked about this briefly beforehand. At first glance, it seems kind of low.
Yeah. It's like,
but again, spoiler alert, I think they're counting Malcolm Brogdon as a shooting guard. So I think this is Derek White and Peyton Pritchard. So then it makes a little sense. And out of curiosity, I was looking at the pieces behind them. The Pistons are ahead of the Celtics. I don't know about that one.
I like that reaction. I wish you could type out into words so you could put it in articles.
It's a valid reaction.
Yeah.
It's exactly how it feels. Well, because especially considering Jaden Ivey's probably a shooting guard because he starts for them. Like let me look at the Pistons here.
Right?
He is, he's a shooting guard. So who's their backup point guard? Oh, Monte
Killian
Morris.
Hayes.
I guess Monte Morris. They got him this summer.
Okay.
So maybe I guess it's closer, but that's a little weird.
Disrespect.
Maybe.
Reach out to Derek White's friends and tell them.
Who's 19? I'm just looking at the people or the positions teams right ahead of them. Okay. I guess it makes sense. There's a lot of
who was 19
in the NBA. The Lakers.
Point guard is one of the deepest positions in the league. We talk about this all the time because we're like, where should Peyton Pritchard get traded to? And it's like, well, shit, he really can't start anywhere because there's a zillion point guards.
And it makes sense.
Moving on. Speaking of Malcolm Brogdon, he joins Jaylen Brown, even though he was voted as an all-NBA forward, in the Celtics shooting guard rotation, which is ranked second in the NBA. Respect. Celtics get some respect at the 2 guard. When you're putting an all-NBA caliber player along with the 6th man of the year, it makes sense that you come in towards the top of the league.
Do you know who number 1 is? Do you want to guess? I don't know if you saw it.
I would like to guess, but I don't know. It's not Phoenix, and I know that for certain, so don't even be like it's not.
It's not Phoenix, yeah.
It's not OKC, is it?
No, OKC is 11th because they count Shea as the.
Am I going to be like a moron? Like, am I going to feel stupid?
It's Cleveland. It's Donovan Mitchell. So it's like maybe it's Donovan Mitchell and Karis LeVert versus JB and Malcolm Brogdon.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I might put the Celtics ahead just because of Malcolm Brogdon, but I won't complain too much.
I was
though.
like
Skip Baylor's a
Shea
good
and
player.
Jalen Williams, maybe.
No, they're all starters, so they don't count them as backups and stuff.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Take
fine.
a pick.
Whatever.
OKC has a zillion guys on their team.
This is true. This is true. All right, small forward. What do you got?
Next, Jayson Tatum and the fellas. Number 1. Jayson Tatum. There is actually an excerpt here about him, so I will go find it in one of my many athletic tabs open. Oh my gosh, here it is.
You want me to read it? I got it.
The Celtics and Tatum are at the top, followed by 4 stalwarts at the position over the age of 30. Tatum checks all of the boxes in terms of production on both ends of the floor, the regular season and the postseason, durability and age. He just needs an MVP, which takes him playing an entire season without sucking for a little bit. And it would be cool if they won the finals. So they are at the top spot, directly behind them.
Lakers.
And
Clippers.
then the Clippers. Then I'd imagine Phoenix.
Yep.
Phoenix.
And
5,
then
Miami.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's kind of interesting that Tatum's at the top. I mean, I guess the Celtics have so many options to roll out there behind him that it's like, okay. Plus, he's really good. So,
And if you look at any of
makes
those
sense.
other, guys, like they don't really have a ton of depth behind their starters. Like the Clippers probably have the best depth, but you have to discount Kawhi because of the injuries. Like who's the backup small forward in LA? Cam Reddish, right? Like I don't know who is it in Miami. Josh Richardson maybe, but he might play down to the 2 guard. He might start for them because Gabe Vincent's gone, so you don't know if you can count him. And then who's the other one? Phoenix, minimum guy. So
yeah,
I think you just got to go by
it's
the
literally Durant and the boys in Phoenix.
Yeah. All right, power forward, hit me.
Kristaps Porzingis, and I don't know. This one's weird because you could be like Al Horford too, and then maybe also I don't even know who the others would be. But number 9, 9th in the league. And I will read the justification for that, if there is any.
I don't think there is. I don't think they wrote about the Celtics here.
Yeah,
but
okay.
he's 9th. He's 9th, which is fine. It's weird to see some of the names ahead of him, like Cleveland's ahead of him with Mobley. Who's their backup power forward? Maybe you rank it
Who's
there.
The Celtics backup power forward though. That's
that's the thing. Probably O'Shea Brissett, low key. That's
Okay.
probably who it is. So it makes sense that they're a little lower, because you probably do have both of those guys in Robert Williams and Al Horford at center. Sure, whatever. It's not a big deal. And then the center, the Celtics rank all right
11th, and it's Al Horford. So he's not the backup power forward in this scenario, even though he very well could be this year. Al Horford, Rob Williams. I think that should be better than maybe Vucevic.
I agree. I think it should be better than Vooch.
Should be better than maybe Cleveland. Should
Minnesota.
Be better than OKC for sure.
Not Minnesota, actually. They have a good backup.
Yeah, they have Naz Reid still.
He's good.
He's a dog.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. It's fair enough. It's fine.
Celtics get respect. Probably got slighted at the point guard spot, though.
Probably. Although, like we said, there's a ton of depth there. But all in all, that's fine. All right.
Thank God that's over.
Not a fan of rankings. We're almost this season. I was listening to NBA Front Office pod today. 7 weeks till the regular season, Sam. We're getting there.
It's too many.
We're getting there.
Jack, our initial off-season calendar had 13 weeks.
We're getting there.
We have over half of that left.
30 days till preseason.
Yeah, the preseason is really what matters because the preseason's going to give us a ton to talk about. We'll be like, well, what about this guy that we've never heard of before that they brought in? He looks nasty. So we'll be excited for that. You have media day. We'll do a whole pod. Be like, oh, look at them in the jerseys again.
Of course. Last year it was Justin Jackson, and now it'll be Svi Mykhailiuk. Anyways, also we didn't mention this. Svi Mykhailiuk partially guaranteed contract, not on a full deal. He's only partially guaranteed for $200K, which I think is similar to like Delano Banton's deal. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on to the next thing. This is an article I wrote for Celtics blog. It's not out yet, but we're gonna do it as an activity on the pod. We like drafting stuff. We drafted teams around the Jays last time. We're gonna be drafting teams around Tatum, Brown, and Porzingis this time. Basically, we're just splitting up the Celtics roster into 3 teams, one around each star. And so the goal is to build the best Tatum in the boys lineup, Jaylen in the boys lineup, Kristaps in the boys lineups, but you can't use the same depth players for each one. So if you use Derek White in the Porzingis lineup or Brown lineup, you can't use it in another one of the lineups. You can only use one depth player in each. There are 11 other players outside of those 3 on standard deals. So when I wrote it, I included Jay Scrubb as well because I feel like he fits in a team lineup better than JD Davison right now. And so we can, if you want to go with JD Davison instead, that's fine. I just think Jay Scrubb is a bit more NBA ready.
JD Davison is cooked.
And so the goal is to build 3 different lineups around these guys. So that's what we're doing right now. That is the goal.
I'm trying to do it in my head and I kind of can't. So
yeah, the way I went about it, the way I thought about it was Tatum can probably shoulder the biggest load, like burden on his shoulders. Like he doesn't need a top tier star. And so I sort of did it by position. So I'm like, okay, let's go through the point guards. Who should each one have? Right. And so since Tatum's fine and he's a good ball handler, I put Peyton Pritchard with him instead of one of the other guys. So I would have Pritchard there. And then you can debate, like, because Derek White and Malcolm Brogdon is left at the point guard spot. So then you just put one of them with each. I think it doesn't matter too much. I personally put Derek White with Kristaps Porzingis because I think Jaylen Brown's a good enough scorer where he should have a better spot up shooter around him. And I put Derek White with Porzingis because I feel like Derek White's better at these big scoring nights when he needs to be. So it's a better perimeter scoring threat. But I don't know. So I sort of went position by position. I've already done this for my article, so I'll let you sort of spearhead this. But that's how I broke it down. Yeah, hit me, Sam. It's September, man. We come on. We got some content.
Okay, well, around Jayson Tatum, you don't need any more ball handlers. That's for sure. So we're gonna put Derek White with Jaylen.
Okay.
Actually, no. We're going to put Brogdon with Jaylen.
Okay.
And here's why. We'll put Derek White with Porzingis.
Okay.
Derek White being with Porzingis makes it so you can actually use Porzingis as a lob threat. Because if you have Brogdon there, you're probably not going to see as many alley-oops thrown. That's just kind of how it goes. So with that being said, we're going to put Rob with Jayson Tatum.
Okay.
Because he might actually throw lobs to Robert Williams, unlike Malcolm Brogdon. And Kristaps really doesn't need a big man, so we're going to put Al Horford with Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
Porzingis can be the only big guy, if need be.
Okay, sure. I'm tracking so far. I'm pulling up Google Docs so I can have the lineups on the.
I'm trying to use that to do mine. All right, now to Porzingis. Oh boy, this is getting tough.
It gets hard. It definitely does get hard. You see, it's not easy. It's
yeah.
It gets hard once you get into it because you really have to think of the depth pieces. I'm gonna put it on the screen for those watching on YouTube, and maybe this will make it easier to visualize for you. Here, I'm gonna put it. I'll make it big so you can see the actual lineups you got rocking.
Okay, great.
This will make it a little easier, and it'll make it more visually pleasing for those watching on YouTube. And if you're not watching on YouTube, go watch on YouTube. Come on, what are you doing?
I'm going to put Sam Hauser with Tatum.
Okay. Do you want to run Tatum at the 4 then?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, there we go.
I will put.
And we can switch this around.
Horford has to be with that Jaylen lineup, by the way.
Okay, yeah. We can switch this around at the end too, because I found myself like writing them all in, and I was like, okay, wait a second, let's split this up a little bit, move it around.
I think we're going to put Svi Mykhailiuk with Kristaps.
Okay. We'll run with the 2 for now, or the 3?
2's fine.
Okay.
Okay, so we need more guards with the Tatum lineup. This is difficult.
Yep. So I'll put you a little.
I'm going to put Pritchard with Tatum. So you can have more shooting. Because if you have Rob, you need a little bit extra shooting.
Now, I'll warn you of this danger, because I did the same thing. The danger you're running into now that I ran into, you're putting, as much as you think, okay, these are a bunch of depth pieces with Tatum, the depth pieces you have left to put with the other 2 are the Delano Bit and J Scrub O'Shea Brissett, none of which can shoot.
Yeah.
And so that is the issue you run into very quickly. Also, Luke Cornett, you also need to put in one of these lineups.
I'm going to put Cornett with Kristaps.
Okay.
Gotcha. I'm just not really sure that. Okay.
It gets tough.
I'm going to put Jordan Walsh with Jaylen Brown.
Okay.
And I will put O'Shea Brissett with. I'll put him with the Tatum lineup.
Okay.
You can move Hauser up. That's fine. Okay. So that leaves me with Delano Banton and Jay Scrub. I'm going to put Banton with the Porzingis lineup, which is a lineup that sucks. But it gives him a little bit of extra ball handling. And I will put Jay Scrub with that Jaylen Brown lineup.
Okay. Delano Banton. So you're going to run Jaylen.
Actually, I'm going to switch. Oh, boy.
You see what I'm saying? It gets hard because now you have Jaylen Brown running the 4.
Switch. Switch.
This is where it gets
Switch
tough.
Jordan Walsh and Cornette.
Okay. I see. Okay. So you want... I'm going to do this.
I love that you're refusing to just like type in the names.
Yeah. Because I keep forgetting. It's fine. I'll get there. So we do have Jay Scrub here. Then you wanted to put Luke Cornette here.
Yes.
Jaylen Brown. Horford. Luke Cornette.
Okay.
All
We
right.
made it.
So these are your final lineups.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So Sam's 3 lineups with the Celtics. He had Pritchard, Hauser, Brissett, Tatum, Rob, Brogdon, Jay Scrub, Jalen, Al, Luke, Derek White, Delano Banton, Svi Mykhailiuk, Jordan Walsh, Porzingis. Which of these lineups do you think is the worst? Like in your head, which one do you think is going to struggle?
The Porzingis lineup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
But I think the other two are pretty even.
Yeah, they're not bad. I agree. Let me find my article so I can tell you what I ended with.
The Jalen one might be the best.
Jalen lineup's good. I put Luke Cornette with Robert Williams, so Robert Williams wouldn't have to guard centers.
Okay. That's a good idea.
So I thought of it that way. And so my Tatum lineup was Pritchard, Delano Banton, Jordan Walsh, Jayson Tatum, Al Horford. So yeah, Pritchard, Banton. Who was it? Pritchard, Banton, Walsh, Tatum, Horford. So I put Tatum with a bunch of younger guys. I had Jaylen Brown with Brogdon, Jalen, Svi Mykhailiuk, Rob, Cornette. And then my last lineup was Derek White, Jay Scrub, Sam Hauser, O'Shea Brissett, Porzingis. So just kind of like, I don't know. I kind of went position by position and said, I'll put Jalen and Brogdon with Rob because I want Cornette there too, and Cornette's like the weakest big man. And then I gave him a shooter as well. I put Tatum with a bunch of younger guys because he can carry the load a bit more. And then I just put Hauser with Derek White and Porzingis to space the floor and gave them 2 other guys who could just cut. The Porzingis White lineup was the hardest because you want to put those 2 together, but then past that, you run into a problem of like just not a lot of depth pieces. So I don't know. I thought this was a fun activity. It's fine. That's what we end up. Let us know which teams you think are the best. Let us know how you would split up the lineup. I think the Athletic actually did a similar thing to this, which I didn't know they did until I just saw it on their homepage. Yeah. Thank you for partaking.
Thank you to Jack for going through that because I had a Wi-Fi meltdown.
That's fine. We were talking. All right. Do we have any other stuff? Yes, Sam, you put this in the sheet. Jayson Tatum playoff stat. You saw this and you threw it in here.
So I was just on Reddit and I happened to stumble upon this. Jayson Tatum has more playoff points than like a ton of people that you may not think he has more playoff points than. He has 2,236. He has more than Giannis. He has more than Jokic. He has more than Kyrie. He has more than Dame Lillard. More than AD. More than DeMar DeRozan, which is not surprising. Embiid, not surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Mitchell, not surprising. Booker, not surprising. And Luka, not surprising. I think the biggest surprises are probably the top 3 because you think of Kyrie being on those deep Cavs teams where they made 3 straight runs to the finals.
Yeah. Those are.
And he was also with the Celtics. The Nets since leaving Cleveland, he hasn't made it past the second round. Giannis, he's been in the playoffs for a lot of his career, so that's a little surprising, and he's been in the league longer. Jokic, the Nuggets haven't had a ton of deep success, but he had a monster average of stats this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really a lot of these guys have been in the league, and they should have a lot more points than they do. And Tatum has not been in the league that long. He's only done 6 seasons.
Yeah. Not like talking down on Tatum. Tatum did have the benefit of just being able to be in the playoffs off rip. Like he was a rookie in the conference finals. And that's not a knock on him. He took that opportunity and ran with it. So good for him. But he's just gotten a lot of playoff games under his belt. Like he has made the conference finals in all but 2 years of his career. Right?
Yes.
That's crazy. Like, and as much as this is Boston, excuse me, sorry, I think as much as this is Boston and that's not good enough, like if somebody did that for the Kings, he's the best player in franchise history. Do you know what I'm saying? Like what Tatum has done is what Tatum has done is incredible. It just happens to be that he's doing it for a franchise that title or nothing. So he's got to get the title. Get the title and all is forgiven, right? Get that ring and no one can criticize you much anymore. But all right, we can move on to the NBA portion of our show. Let me throw up the branding because I forgot to do it last episode. And we will start with some news. We got a few news things to go over. FIBA World Cup, Sam, your favorite. Yep. The USA beat Italy. Canada beat Slovenia. Serbia beat Lithuania. And Germany beat Latvia. So the semifinals of the tournament are set. United States will take on Daniel Tice, Dennis Schroeder in Germany. And Canada will take on Serbia. And then the winner of those two games will play. The only news I have, or two things, is Dylan Brooks and Luka Doncic got ejected from the Slovenia game. And then Dylan Brooks went back and waited in the tunnel with boxing gloves and was messing around. And people thought it was corny. That's the news.
Well, it's very Dylan Brooks of him to just sit there and by himself with boxing gloves and punching the air. It is funny that Serbia is this far in the tournament. Jokic is out there just getting hammered every day and not playing for them. Like if they had Jokic, they might actually be favorites to win. I don't know.
Possibly. Bogdanovic.
Just because of the way Jokic could be the centerpiece of a team and just make it easier for everybody else.
Yeah. Bogdanovic is playing really well from what I'm seeing. So there's that. But the other thing, this happened a while ago, and I saw somebody comment about it. I don't know if you heard about this. A Serbian player lost a kidney during a FIBA game.
What?
They got elbowed so hard they had to get their kidney removed.
Oof. See, I complain about like banging knees with people too many times a week.
Yeah.
Like I feel like I can't go like 3 days without slamming my knee into something. Whether somebody knees me in the back of the calf or I bang knees or I hit my knee on the door as I walk by. I'd be so mad if I went to play basketball and then I had to get my kidney removed.
Yeah. Borussia Simonic, a power forward for the Serbian national team, had surgery to remove a kidney after taking an elbow to the midsection during the FIBA World Cup. Injury happened in the final minutes of Serbia's win over South Sudan. Simonic was elbowed by South Sudan's Nuni Omat and immediately crumpled in pain, taken to the hospital and had an emergency surgery that night. Over the weekend, Simonic had complications. There was an issue finding his blood type. Serbian coach Svetislav Pezic said several Serbian players volunteered to give Simonic their blood. On Sunday, Simonic underwent a second operation and had his kidney removed. He's expected to remain hospitalized in Manila for some time to recover. So, obviously, the South Sudanese player apologized, all that stuff. But yeah, that's just that's nuts. That's some crazy shit.
What an experience.
Poor guy. Imagine you're playing the FIBA World Cup, and then the next night your kidney is gone.
Yeah, and then you probably can't play basketball for several months as you recover.
Probably done for a while. Probably done for a little while. All right. Next piece of news we have is NBA transactions, I believe. We got a couple things. Christian Wood joins the Lakers. Danny Green joins the 76ers. 2 signings, 2 veteran guys. Keith Smith tweeted about it. He said something along the lines of like, these veteran players know that roster spots are going to close up real quick now. They're just getting their signings in. Christian Wood's a 2-year deal, I believe. Danny Green's, I don't know, but I assume it's a 1-year deal. Both whatever signings. I don't really care personally. Whatever.
Christian Wood won. So somebody say the Lakers have won the offseason after this move was made.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend like Christian Wood didn't just sit in free agency for 2 months because nobody wanted him, including Dallas. He was playing in Dallas, a team that had a terrible center rotation last year. It was one of the biggest knocks on the team and why they weren't successful. And he wasn't even getting consistent starts. He
No.
couldn't even really stay in their rotation. So
Mhm.
he's going to be the move the needle guy for the Lakers. Christian Wood has never made the playoffs. He has never been on a team that's made the playoffs. How great can he be as a player?
Red flag. Mark Schindler, who I follow on Twitter, he writes for the WNBA. He does podcast stuff. He's good follow. He tweeted this, and I thought it was funny, and it applies. The cycle of Wood. Fans look at box score and grin. Quote, this is going to be different. We just have blank and blank. Just wait. Season starts. These on and offs are looking kind of hazy. Next. Oh, the defense is like that. Next. Signs and traded to new team. Next. Fans look at box score.
It's true.
The cycle of Christian
Good
Wood.
tweet.
There, right there for you. Yeah, I mean, Christian Wood's fine. If there's a team that's going to take a chance on him, the Lakers is fine because they have Anthony Davis, they have Jackson Hayes, they have enough talent at the big man spot. Jared Vanderbilt too, where they don't really need him to be amazing. But people acting like Christian Wood's like the best signing in the world didn't watch basketball or didn't watch the Mavericks.
Sure
like
didn't.
it wasn't good.
To the
And
guy
then,
in our comments that really wanted the Celtics to go get him.
yeah, no, not a fan. And then Danny Green to the Sixers. Whatever. I mean, Danny Green battled back. I think he tore his Achilles or an ACL or something, and now he's back. How old is Danny Green? He's got to be ancient at
He's
this
old.
point.
He's going to be 37, 38.
36. Yeah. Old. Whatever. Good for you, Philly. Proud of you. Good job. Speaking of injuries, the next thing we have, unfortunately, Trey Murphy dealing with a meniscus tear. Unknown how long he's going to be out, but it just kind of sucks. Like,
Yeah,
Trey
that's
Murphy's
like
really good.
There's nothing worse than just going about your day and then you get a Woj notification that your team had
Mhm.
somebody get hurt.
Yeah.
That because it's not like you were watching the game and you're like, oh, that doesn't look good, and then you're kind of waiting like you kind of know it's coming.
Yeah.
This is just like he was at a private workout and hurt himself. That's brutal.
It sucks. Trey Murphy was really good last year, too. He averaged 14.5 points, 3.6 rebounds, shot 48% from the field, 41% from deep. Like, he had a real chance to break out this season with the Pelicans. Like, he's only, how old is Trey Murphy? 23 years old. It just sucks that he might lose like a season of his career because this could have been a huge year for him and the Pels, especially if Zion can finally,
Not
Get-
be fat.
on the court.
Yeah.
However you want to phrase it. But get well soon to Trey Murphy. I hope he gets back on the court. That sucks. Never want to see that. Next thing, Clippers Nation. Done with load management, apparently. That's what I heard on the Front Office Show podcast. Ty Lue went on the, what podcast was Ty Lue on?
This
League Uncut with Mark Stein and Chris Haynes, saying that they're both on track, talking about Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, to be 100% by the time training camp starts, and that's what we need. Our best players will be healthy. We've just been in an unfortunate situation where our two best players haven't had a full season, and that's been tough. So it does sound like they're going to try to avoid the regular season doesn't matter strategy this year. It sounds like they're switching gears. That's what I've heard. So
Yeah,
hopefully
nobody
they can
respects
do
the
that.
Clippers because of this. So realistically, they could be a team that's competitive, and we all overlook them when we're like, well, who's the contender in the West? Just because these guys straight up don't play.
Yeah, pretty much. And then the other funny Clippers thing, Sam, I don't think you saw this. I put it on the sheet, but I'm going to share the tweet here if I can find it on my mirage of tabs. The Clippers are apparently mad at the Taylor Swift banner in Staples Center or whatever it's called now, crypto.com, because fans have begun saying Taylor Swift has more banners than the Clippers.
That's a new thing. I mean, that's not
It
a
is
new
a new
thing. That's not a new thing.
Oh,
This has been a thing for a while. Like, people have pointed at this and laughed at it and made fun of the Clippers for years. I don't know why all of a sudden it's becoming a thing.
it's probably because she was there recently, and so people were like reminded of it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh.
So like she went back to LA recently.
Well, you know what
But,
would help is just win.
That would help.
Or you could just start hanging like division championship banners next to all the Lakers banners
That'd be
and
sad.
try and compete. I mean, they're just going to build their own arena. So what does crypto.com arena care? They probably don't want the Clippers there anyways, because they're literally going to build their own arena so they don't play there. They don't care. Screw
This
the
is the
Clippers
saddest-
if you're
this
that
is-
arena.
This is the saddest thing, though. The Clippers initially covered up the banner along with the entire Lakers rafters or whatever with portraits of their players. That's so sad.
Yeah. That used to be a thing.
That is very sad. Poor Clippers. Just win. Be better.
Actually, I don't care. The Clippers can go fuck themselves.
I don't care either. This is true. Yes, good call.
Yeah.
All right. Next NBA thing, Sam, you put this in here. Harden update from Ramona Shelbourne.
Yes.
What you got?
So, James Harden, I'm on Reddit today. Back in February, when the All-Star teams were announced, James Harden was dismayed at his All-Star snub. Adam Silver was prepared to name him as an injury replacement if Harden assured that he would play. Days went by without Harden's answer. He was pouting, and by the time Harden accepted, Silver had moved on and named Pascal Siakam to be the injury replacement. This was the first hint at Harden's quote-unquote sacrifice in that it wasn't being appreciated, much less rewarded in the way that he was hoping. This came in late January when he wasn't voted to be an All-Star. Harden, who made 10 consecutive All-Star games, was dismayed at the snub. Yes. It didn't help that both his former Nets teammates, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, had both been voted in as starters by the fans, media, and players, while Harden was a distant fourth among Eastern Conference guards. Behind those two, Donovan Mitchell and Jaylen Brown. So this is kind of the greatest thing ever because the fans don't respect Harden because he doesn't play a respectable game. The players do not respect him, and neither do the media members. And then Adam Silver goes to throw him a bone and be like, okay, like, yeah, we'll let you in. And he's so busy being miserable that he didn't get selected to the All-Star game that he misses out on another opportunity to make it.
Yeah.
James Harden, not very easy to root for.
Is James Harden the worst player to root for in the NBA? Truly. I know your head goes. Your head. I'm talking about. No. I'm talking about for fans of the franchise. Like as much as you hate. LeBron,
okay.
Fans
like,
of the Lakers
team, and
exactly.
Like, okay,
Lakers fans love LeBron, right? Kyrie might.
Do
be
they?
The
they kind of defaced his house.
There's gonna be haters in every whatever, but like people of that fandom, like Cavs fans, like LeBron was there. You know what I'm saying? Like. LeBron makes sense for other fandoms to hate. Kyrie's a good one because if you're a Nets fan when he was on the team, probably weren't a huge fan. Kyrie Irving. Dallas fans probably like him a little more now.
Because they ended the Celtics, and then Kyrie scored a bunch of points in his debut, and then they lost in the second round to the Bucks.
Sure.
And then they got swept by the Celtics, and then the Celtics beat the Nets by 40 in Kyrie's last ever game for the Nets.
If you are a fan of an NBA team, is there any player you dislike rooting for, having them on your team than James Harden? Dylan Brooks, Grizzlies by the end? Maybe.
That's a good question.
Celtics fans love to hate Marcus Smart, a certain section of them.
Yeah, moron people.
I was listening. You know what it was? I was listening to
Julius Randle. They tore down his poster.
Julius Randle's one. That's fine. I forget which pod I was listening to. I think it was either Locked On Celtics with John Krause or Anything Is Potable with Jay King and Jan Packard. And they said they're like explaining the Marcus Smart haters in Boston. And it was like, there is the casual fan who loves Marcus Smart. There is the diehard fan who watches every game and loves Marcus Smart. And then there's this tiny sliver of fans who only look at social media and don't watch the games and they hate Marcus Smart.
That was how I would determine if somebody was paying attention or not, or knew what they were talking about. That was the barometer. Like the Patriots people that come in, they're like, oh yeah, the season's over because our team's going to go 7-10 this year again. Marcus Smart, it's all his fault. That was how it would go. So speaking of, Patriots are about to start, so we won't have to deal with that for what?
This is
3
true.
months, 4 months until they're
a little
done.
while. I am excited about football season though this year. Like I told you,
I'm only excited because it means that the Celtics are almost back.
There you go. I'm excited for fantasy. Do you want to skip this last NBA thing we have and just go right to the rat list? We'll bump it again. It's
well, we have the Reddit post.
Oh yeah, we'll do Reddit post and we'll go to rat list. Hit the Reddit post. Let's do it. What do we got?
The Reddit post of the day comes from the NBA community. Who are the biggest quote unquote trick jaw players? Yes. Players who were hyped up after a short spell of strong performances, then either had their weaknesses exposed or generally failed to live up to those expectations. The poster answers, my answer would be Christian Wood. The news of his signing with the Lakers reminded me of the way people talked about him when he first broke. The man behind Shaq's famous, I apologize, I wasn't familiar with your game quote, was like COVID, the way he all of a sudden sprang up out of nowhere in early 2020. Good job, Reddit poster. Scoring the ball on all three levels. and filling some of the gap that Blake Griffin left in the Detroit Pistons team. Fast forward to 3 years later in Dallas, he was an inefficient shot chucker who can't play defense, can't grab rebounds, and can't set a screen or do anything that would help the offense. He got benched by a team starting Dwight Powell at the 5, told you about this, and Reggie Bullock at the 4, all while reportedly being a locker room cancer, him, Kyrie handshake. Now he's taking the minimum to be a backup to a Lakers team, and fans are debating if he's even good enough for that. In short, he tricked y'all, including me. Jack, you were very excited about this. When you saw it on the show sheet, you had somebody you wanted to expose.
I have the best answer for this. The best answer, bar none. Devontae Graham. The best answer for this question. He averaged 4 points in his first season in Charlotte. Kemba left, got a starting job, averaged 35 minutes, put up 18 points a night, shot 38% from the field and 37% from deep. Wasn't good, but everyone was like, "Oh, he's a good scorer. He's a good scorer." Bad. He's just not good. He literally went on a podcast, Theo Pinson's podcast, recently, like the last couple of weeks. Theo Pinson goes, "How much you make a year?" He goes, 14 mil. They both start dying laughing. Both of them start laughing. Theo Pinson goes, "This man, 5'10", only shoots threes, and I'm on a league minimum." And Devontae Graham's just crying, laughing. He knows. He tricked y'all. He knows he tricked y'all.
It's true.
Oh, man.
Another good answer, Tyler Johnson. He was really, really solid for the Miami Heat back in that 2016-17 range. Then he signed an $80 million contract to join the Brooklyn Nets and really fell out of the league after that. I think he even talked about like throwing up after he signed the contract, or like being in disbelief as it was happening because he was getting that much money. So that's another good guy. A popular answer on this thread, Michael Carter-Williams.
Yeah, he was really good during his rookie year.
Rookie of the year. He had a triple-double in his first game. They beat the Miami Heat team that was stacked with LeBron, Bosh, Wade after they'd won a title. That's a good one.
Tyreek
We've
Evans.
also got Tyreek Evans, who won a Rookie of the Year over Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Who else? Harden.
You know what? The best part was Tyreek Evans was campaigning for his Rookie of the Year. Like he was doing promo videos. Yeah.
That's like Embiid with his MVP. He was like, "Please, please, please give me the MVP."
You know, another good one, Bismack Biyombo. He had like
that's
5
on this
good
list.
games.
I was
made
literally
so
about
much money
to read it.
Yep.
Bismack Biyombo, whose performance in the 2016 Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavs had me convinced he was up next. His 2K moments card was nasty too. So that
Mozgov.
Mozgov.
Timothy Mozgov, another good one.
All that money from the Lakers. This is a great thread.
You know,
classic example is center Jerome James, taking this from his Wikipedia. James has averaged 4.3 points, 3.1 rebounds per game in 358 career games, 180 starts. James played well for the Seattle Supersonics during the 2005 playoffs, averaging 12.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.8 blocks in 11 games against the Kings and San Antonio Spurs. That summer, James signed a 5-year, $30 million free agent contract with the Knicks, which at the time was a good amount of money, on the strength of an outstanding performance in the 2005 playoffs, in which he greatly exceeded his regular season statistics. He arrived at his first training camp out of shape, and in his first season, he only averaged 3.1 points and 2.1 rebounds in just 9 minutes per game. Jerome James.
Wow.
James missed much of the season due to an injury when he was not actually injured. He frequently played insignificant minutes, and he was suspended on January 2nd, 2006, for not being prepared to practice. He was out of shape for practice after signing a $30 million contract that summer in free agency. The first reply to this post or the comment is, "That's not a trick jaw. That's a trick to the right guy."
But he was really good in college or something, and he is that what it was?
No.
Sorry, I missed the start of that. I missed the start of the story.
He had a very good playoff run of 11 games with the Supersonics when they beat the Kings and then lost to the Spurs. He had like 12.5 points, 6.8 rebounds, and almost 2 blocks per game. The Knicks were like, "We have to go get this guy." And then he was literally a plague with his contract, taking up cap space and literally not being able to produce.
I love it. Now, we spent so much time thinking of, wow, this guy sucks, screw that guy, that we missed the best answer to the question because he's people like him. Linsanity? Are you kidding me? Literally, he's like, psych.
Oh, that was the first thing I thought of, but I was like,
Yeah.
everybody knows that.
Yeah, but that's up there. Another one, I Googled NBA one-hit wonders. Dana Barros came up. Dana Barros had one all-star season. This was his point totals: 10, 6, 8, 8, 13, 21, and 7.5. 13, 12, 10, 9, 7, 8.
That's like in baseball, like when they were doing steroids and you would see like 5 home runs, 7 home runs, 11, and then it would be like 45.
Mm-hmm. Another good one I saw, Aaron Brooks. You remember him?
Yes.
Aaron Brooks had one like great season. He averaged 5, 11, and then 19.6 points for Houston in 2009, 2010. Then 11, 11, 10 out of the league. 7, 8, 1, 9. 1 hit wonder. Aaron Brooks. Yeah, gotcha. Psych. Davis Bertans a great one. Davis
when
Bertans
he was like, if you'll have me back, I'll resign. And he tricked us all. Yeah, best trick jaw guy of all time. Hassan Whiteside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trying to get his 2K rating up.
I wonder how much of this, because you said Tyler Johnson too, how much of this is just good in Miami, bad everywhere else? Because that's a real thing.
Jordan Poole did this, but instead of a few games, he was amazing for a whole season, then got his talent Falcon punched out of him.
That's foul. Who is, out of this free agency class, we'll do a prediction. Who's the trick jaw guy? Who's going to get psyched? You think so?
Yeah.
Okay.
One of the Houston guys for sure.
I'm wondering if it's going to be Gabe Vincent or Max Strus. They leave Miami, their powers evaporate. I think they'll be both be good.
Just like a catch and shoot. Well, he's not just a catch and shoot guy, but that's his primary skill.
Jeremy Grant, gotcha. Psych.
That's essentially the Jerome James word, not trick jaw, trick the right guy.
Trick the right guy.
D'Lo always plays well for a week, then disappears for the rest of the season. Moses Brown was the next Wilt for a couple games.
That's true.
Yeah,
he was. He'll get hit. Gotcha. Psych. Yeah. Okay. Good ones. There we go.
Yep. Good Reddit
All right.
post.
Thank you for the Reddit post today. Let's move on to the rat list now. Let me put Matt on the screen to hang out with us. Sam, would you like to kick it off, or do you want me to go?
You have 3, right? We'll do you first.
I do. Rat list. I'm trying to. What are the phrases? Older people, not in general. Karens, the Karen-esque old people. I went to get my hair cut the other day. Yesterday, well, I went to Supercuts. Right. I'm sitting in there. They have some guys. There's only 2 of them working, two hairdressers or whatever. So I'm like, okay, I'll wait. They know my name at this point. I didn't even have to put my name in. They're just like, Jack, you're good. I'm like, okay, cool. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that they know my name. Whatever. Sit down. Wait my turn. Wait for like 20 minutes. It's whatever, right? Finally sit down. As the dude who's cutting my hair puts the thing around me, somebody comes in and goes, comes up to the table with her 2 kids. She's like, she's got to be like 50. It's like their grandma or something, right? They're like 60. I don't know how old they're.
I mean, we're 25 almost, so.
Yeah, I know. The kids are younger, though. So the kids are like 15, 14, whatever.
Oh, I know. Be careful with the grandma term.
Yeah, true. This is true. But dude who's cutting my hair goes over to the counter for a second, goes, hi, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. It's about a 40-minute wait at this point, 30 to 40-minute wait, because there's 2 people cutting hair. Like, I'm just starting. There's a person next to me who's also getting hair. Whatever. And before he even finishes his sentence, lady goes, I have an appointment. And he's like, all right, let me look here. And he goes, sorry, we had a couple walk-ins that we'll get to you as soon as we can. If that's okay. She goes, I'm leaving. She turns around and leaves. She's like, okay, see ya. Which is like, fair enough, I guess. But like, she was just super bitchy about it. Like, you're acting as if this is anybody's fault. Like, and I don't know when her appointment was either. And I understand you made an appointment for a reason. But I hate people who treat.
This is almost rat court.
That's what I was.
I almost don't think she. I think she handled it in a very rat-like way.
That's my thing.
But I really think. I mean, this is the Curb episode. It's like the first one where at Larry's doctor's office, they take people based on when they get there, not based on what time their appointment is. So he holds the door for this girl as he's walking in the office, and he has to wait like an hour because she signs in on the sheet before him and gets called first when he had an appointment for whatever time. Then they changed the policy by the end of the show, and he fights to get to the desk first so he can sign the thing and still has to wait.
Mhm. My question is, because I think there needs to be more context to this story. I don't know exactly what time I sat down in the chair for my appointment, or I didn't have an appointment. I just walked in, whatever. And I would have waited if he said, "Oh, hey, this guy's an appointment. You mind waiting?" I would have
mad as hell.
it is what it is. I'm not
You had
going to
the
make
apron on. That's the end of it.
Sure. Exactly. So that's why this lady had to wait. But I wouldn't have mattered. I wouldn't have cared. It wasn't in a rush. But I think the needed context is what time this person's appointment was. Were they coming in literally on the dot, exact the time of their appointment? And if so, that's a psycho move. Get there a little early, right? And second, though, if she is 15 minutes early to her appointment and mad that she has to wait, you're also just early. So I don't know. There's context on both sides. My biggest thing was I think this is a big thing with that generation of people. They just treat service workers like they're dog shit, like they're subhuman. And I've never understood that. Whether it be a drive-through or they also can't drive.
Not very good at driving.
I used to work at a restaurant. We had a guy sit down once. I don't know what was wrong. If he didn't like his food, if he was mad at a server, he literally just called the police to the restaurant. A cop showed up at the door, and I was like, I was the host that day. So I was like, "Hi, how are you, sir? What's up?" And he goes, "We got a call." I was like, "What do you mean you got a call?" And he goes, "We got a call from somebody." And the guy from the corner just goes, "Yeah, that was me." And he just fucking calls the police over to his table. And apparently he had an issue with a person sitting next to him, but instead of asking the manager about something, he just called the police to the
Good for him.
restaurant.
He went right to the point.
Which is what are we doing? But yeah, those people and the people that go, "What do you mean there's a wait? There's an open table right there." Yeah, because I haven't fucking cleaned it yet, Karen. Shut the fuck up and go on the list. I hate that generation of people. They think they're entitled. Rat. Yep. Okay,
Yeah.
that was my first one. Sorry. Go ahead. We fired up today.
For me, it's the Sun. The Sun made the rat list last time. It's back.
Double.
Because
back to back.
this time I've tried to run in the Sun on back-to-back days. Yesterday, I went running at probably 11 a.m. I had to stop.
Sure.
It was just brutally beating down on me. I felt like I was at the end of a prize fight, and I had to stop, which is always really demoralizing when you have to stop on a main road. It's okay if you're on the side streets and you're almost home and you have to
So
walk.
what'd you do? You just started walking?
Yeah, you walk home.
Okay.
What else are you gonna do? Fly?
Well, that's why I was confused. You said you stopped. I'm like, all right. Did
You have
fucking
to
stand there
stop.
No, I know.
No, but then today I went out. I taught the Sun who was boss. I made it all the way.
There we
Just
go.
pouring sweat though. I definitely looked how professional wrestlers look when they come out and they're all sweaty. The guys that come out and their hair's
Before
already
they
wet.
even start.
Yeah. That's how I felt when I got home.
That's
So
a disaster.
that was my day, but I'm proud of myself. I did a good job. Did a good thing.
I'm gonna take a page out of your book. Road work during the day, just awful. There's no reason for it, man. And I'm going down to get my coffee and let my aunt's dogs out because she's a school nurse, so they're back at school. So I'm letting her dogs out during the day. And there's just 3 traffic cones in the middle of a huge intersection, and a crossing guard saying, "Okay, you come." I'm like, there wasn't even anybody working. It was just the cones out. They were preparing for people to work. And then past that, I don't know if people just all decided to do their yard work on the same day. Trucks on the side of the road everywhere, just in the middle of the street. It's just infuriating. It's noon. It's not it's just middle of the day. Sun is out. If the sun's out, go home. Stop. Do your work.
Agree.
It's
don't do it when there are people on the road. You shouldn't be out there fixing
exactly.
it.
And there's a point because there's always going to be people on the road, and you don't want to expect people to do it overnight. And maybe you should, whatever. But noon, prime time, fuck off. Do it 8 p.m.
8 p.m. All right.
Do it when the sun's down.
I
right?
thought you were going to say 6. I was like, oh, buddy.
No, prime time is 9 a.m., 5 p.m. When people are going, coming home from work, right? That's prime time. But noon is just literally the middle of the day. Fuck off. right? Do it at like early morning.
I'm sure the
or
workers kind
just
of
past
agree.
it.
Like they're probably out there getting
Yeah,
cooked by the
that's what
ratless
I'm
sun.
saying. It's probably super hot. Anyways, so that pissed me off today. I'll let you go. Go ahead.
I am so far out on the road work though. I
Yeah,
was complaining about it to my girlfriend the other day, and I actually like caught myself because I said tax dollars, and that was the first time in my life I've ever complained about where the tax dollars are going. But I was like, you're paying them on a holiday weekend to go do road work and inconvenience literally everybody. Why don't you save the tax dollars and not inconvenience all of us?
yeah,
Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm old.
that's
I complained about the tax dollars.
That's tough luck.
So other rat list, so at Planet Fitness they have an area for stretching. It's like a cage.
Yeah, sure.
There's a place for your foot. There's a place for you to grab onto, and you can do all these different stretches. If you've been to physical therapy or whatever, you probably are familiar with it. Not saying you, but just a listener in general.
Sure, I've been.
So, anyways,
I know what you mean.
In between my like sets, I'm going in there. I'm stretching out. I've just run. I'm trying to make sure my legs remain loose as I, don't want to be hurt. So I finish my stretch and I step out, and I've got everything set up right next to it because I'm kind of doing both, which I usually frown upon, but whatever. As soon as I'm out, this guy comes flying across the area and jumps in. It was crazy. And he wasn't even like sitting waiting. Like he just came around the corner and was like bolting for it. I'm standing right there. Doesn't even like have any like, hey, are you using this? Even though I probably been like, yeah, go ahead. And I would just stretch like standing up.
Yeah.
I don't need the cage, but it's better. And just flew in there. It's like, okay, don't worry about me.
It's like Henry getting his own rebounds.
Yeah, pretty much. That's one of the great all-time rat lists because it's absolutely true. That's one
Henry
of the
was
worst
talking
things
about
you
it
can
today.
do.
Henry was talking about it today. He told my mom, he was like, Mom, I was on the rat list today. Because they talk about it. They talk if they get put on the rat list. And
they have to reflect on what they've done.
Exactly.
No, that's one of the more deserving rat lists ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was tough. I'll rat list myself. I forgot to put this on the sheet. Two things. First one, get to Starbucks. Go to get my card out of my wallet. Card not there. Disaster. Right? I had cash. It was fine. I'll explain. I had cash. It was
you
like
can do the phone too.
Yeah. I had plenty of reasons to pay. It wasn't the end of the world. I had cash. It was fine. But it's because I went to Target the other day and I was checking out, and I like put and there were people up my ass for the self-checkout. Like just like waiting there, like ready to pounce, like the dude at the gym. Like they will take it as soon as you step away. So I scramble. I had my card. I threw it in my wallet like this, just like in like this, you know what I'm saying? Put it in my pocket. And then I threw it. I got back in the car and I was like holding everything. So I threw it in the Target bag and my card was just like floating in the Target bag that I had. And so I went out and I just didn't have it. So there's that. So like it was just a brief moment of like panic. I was like, oh shit, where's my card? And then I remembered and it was fine. But the other thing, I don't know if you deal with this too. You know the old the meme or the joke, right? Like I hate making multiple trips. I'll just say it. Multiple trips to the car, the worst. So I'll do anything. But today I had 3 drinks because like I get my mom stuff, I get like my family drinks, whatever. I had drinks and a bag of food, and I feel like a moron, but I have to do it because I refuse to make 2 trips. I have 1 drink in one hand, holding the bag with like my pinky, whatever, around the drink. I have another drink in another hand, another one like tucked right here. But then I have to open the door, and so I have to like get the keys in my pocket. So I'm sitting there like this, chin on one of the drinks, balancing on top of this one like this, opening the key. I get in the house. I'm like, I have my mouth on the straw of my drink, taking a sip. And this was yesterday. It worked today because I knew my mistake. But yesterday, I don't know what possessed me. My drink was almost gone, luckily. But I had so the drink that was on top of my drink that I was holding with my mouth because I was drinking it. I removed this hand, and so the drink I had fell. And again, it was almost gone. So like nothing actually spilled. It was like ice and stuff. Fell down, and I just had this straw in my mouth with the drink on the ground. It was a peak disaster. Yeah.
I had one of those scenarios happen to me. So I had gone out at my job and got like a coffee run. Like I did a coffee run.
Sure.
But I also got myself lunch. I went to Chipotle. I got lunch.
Good. Mhm.
So I have 6 Starbucks drinks. Actually 5, because one of them was mine and I already finished it. So I left it in my car. I didn't have to carry the 5th drink. It was okay.
Sure.
So I have one of those trays that hold the drinks.
Mhm.
I have one other drink, and then I have my bag of Chipotle. So what I do is I roll up the bag, I put it in my mouth, and I carry it that way, get inside, whatever. I give everyone their drinks.
Yeah.
When
That's what
I
you do.
take the paper bag out of my mouth, it pulls skin from my lip.
Oh, disaster.
Yeah. Terrible. Like, I was like, oh my God, I didn't even know this could happen.
Was it like
It wasn't like that bad, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm actually like bleeding. Like I had to like pay attention to it.
Sure.
I didn't even know that could happen.
See, that's one of my you know how people like bite their nails and stuff as like a nervous tick or whatever. I like bite the inside of my mouth, so I like just my inside of my mouth is like bit up.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know. It's what I do.
How do you eat like acidic foods? Like what if you have like a tomato or ketchup?
It doesn't hurt. It's fine. It's just normal. It's whatever. Let's see. So Sam and I are in a fantasy football league. We talked about this briefly. Excuse me, I have to cough. Sorry. We talked about it briefly last time on the podcast. Sam and I are in the same fantasy league. And my decision this year was I'm going to take 2 tight ends. So I took Travis Kelce in the first round. 4th round took Mark Andrews, or 3rd round, maybe even 4th round. I don't remember. No, I took Mahomes in the 3rd round, Mark Andrews in the 4th round. Message comes through today from Adam Schefter. Travis Kelce hurt his knee. So, disaster.
Essentially, you were trying to fuck everybody else and you got fucked. So
Jayson Kelce gave an update and he said Travis Kelce. He said Travis should be fine for week 1. He's just like.
But also, you're set. You have another tight end.
Yeah, I'll be fine because I have another tight end. And the rest of my team is pretty good too. I don't know how y'all let me get a good team. Like I have CD Lamb still. I have Christian Watson.
Well, I let you get a good team by just really not knowing who to pick.
Sure, my running backs are kind of dog shit, but that's fine. Henry's team is loaded. Henry's got a ridiculously good team in our league.
Well, it only took him 10 years to pick his team.
Well, and it worked out for him. He's got Josh Allen, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, Cooper Kupp, Terry McLaurin. Henry's
that rat fuck was taking the time down to the buzzer every single time.
He takes a minute. He does, in fact, take a while for his picks. You got a good team, though, too. What? Jalen Hurts, Tony Pollard, Najee Harris, DeMonte
Sure,
Adams,
my team's fine.
Team's fine.
There's going to be adjustments to be made.
Of course. That's all I got for Rouse today. You got anything else?
No, let's wrap it up because my internet's starting to piss me off.
All right. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you guys for joining us for today's episode of How About Them Celtics. Let us know if you have any rat lists. Let us know what you think of the teams we built, around the Celtic Stars. And yeah, subscribe to How About Them Celtics. We appreciate you. Check us out on Apple and Spotify. 5 stars on both, if you don't mind. And leave a comment on YouTube. That's my favorite part. We appreciate you. And I'll let Sam take us out.
Yes, thank you very much for listening or watching. If you're watching, you're on the YouTube channel, whether it's ours, CLNS, or the other CLNS one, you're on one of them. If it's ours, subscribe. Hit the notification bell. Obviously, nobody did because nobody watched the worst playoff moments video. Literally,
people didn't want to be sad
it.
today.
Yeah, so that's the last one of those you're ever going to get. On top of that, you can find us on Spotify and Apple. Make sure you follow, leave a like, and not a like, 5-star review, and say something nice. You can find us on Playback TV.
Yes, please.
At How About Them Celtics? What is it? How About Them Celtics? It's just the name.
Yeah, just How About Them Celtics on Playback. You'll find us. Yeah.
All right, and then at How About Them C's, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. That's the handle. Facebook is just the name of the podcast. You can find us there for any live streams. Those will go there as well as YouTube. You can follow Jack at Jack's Money Bay. You can follow me at Samuel France NBA. That's it for us. Bye before my internet goes.
Taco. Come on.
Taco's having some fun here.
That is bogus! These guys are ridiculous!